guys, it's Iain from RTO. Welcome to another pick and mix. And this week we're looking at a DVD in the camera's view. I think it came out on video as well. Yeah. And we're looking at the Freddie Mercury tribute concert. Because on the 24th of November, it is the anniversary since Freddie died. 1991. What a long time ago. And this was like the tribute concert, benefit concert that was held on Easter Monday in 1992, which was the 20th of April at the old Wembly Stadium in front of 72,000 fans. And the show also marked John Deacle's final full-length concert with the Queen. He did make a short appearance in 1997 with Elton John and Roger and Brian, and all the profits from this concert went to the Mercury Phoenix Trust, an AIDS charity organisation. So following the sad death of Freddie, the remainder of Queen, John, Brian and Roger, came together with their manager Jim Beach to organise a concert to celebrate the life and legacy of Freddie and to raise money for AIDS. They announced it at the Brit Awards in 1992, and the tickets went on sale, and they were all sold out within 3 hours, without not knowing the only performers that were announced apart from Queen, so no one else had been announced. That's some going. So the day opened up with Queen coming out saying, "Bloody no, thank you for Freddie," and the first band that came on stage were Metallica. And they did Enter the Sandman, Sad But True, and Nothing Else Matters. 3 songs off the Black Album, pretty cool. And then Brian introduced Extreme, who he said that they were the band that really got the idea of what Queen were about. And we was expecting, Extreme songs. But no, they did a Queen medley. First bit they did was the opening of Mustafa. Remember the hee. Then they did the rock section from Bohemian Rhapsody. And then Nuno strikes into Keep Yourself Alive. Great track that is. Then they do a little bit of I Want to Break Free. Fat Bottom Girls. Bit of Bicycle Race. And then Pat Badger on the bass. Diddle dum dum. Bit of another one Bites the Dust. Then we had a bit of We Will Rock You. Stone Cold Crazy, absolutely killer bit. Radio Gaga. And that was the end of the medley. Then they did the Love of My Life, Just How Freddie, and Brian used to do it, Gary and Nuno. And then they do More Than Words, which is a lovely song. And that was finished. Up next on the bill, the Def Leppard. Now, if I remember rightly, this was Vivian Campbell's first live appearance with the band. And they come on stage and they do Animal from Hysteria and what was then their latest album, Let's Get Rocked. But they ended the show with Brian May coming out and Joe Elliott saying, "Now here's the man with the curly hair and curly guitar lead, Brian May," and they do Now I'm Here, which was pretty good. Bob Geldof turns up and does Too Late God, and no one really remembers this. Everyone went off and made cups of tea or went for a pint. Now, as I was convalescing after my back operation, I went and made a cup of tea because it sounded awful. And then we had Spinal Tap, who came out and did Majesty of Rock. There was a few technical problems with Nigel's guitars. So they said they cut their set by 35 songs, and Derek says, and that's what Freddie would have wanted. Then they have a recording of End of the World by U2 that was recorded in April, on April the 18th in Oakland. Pretty good. Then Guns N' Roses come out. They did Paradise City, which isn't a bad version. Then they do a nice version of Only Women Bleed, and then they do an awful version of Knocking on Heaven's Door. I don't like their version of it. Then we had Mangrove Groove do a live via satellite of Special Star from Johannesburg. Then we had Liz Taylor come out doing an AIDS prevention speech, which went on for an age. I like the idea of it, but it went on too long. Then we get to the highlight of the show. It starts off with Freddie Mercury and a compilation of various interactions with audience, including the one from Live Aid. And then it says, "This is what you want. This is what you want to get." And out come Queen, Joe Elliott, and Slash for a bit of Tie Your Mother Down. Pretty good. Up next with Queen was Roger Daltrey and Tony Iommi. We get a little bit of Heaven and Hell when they introduce Tony Iommi, and when Roger comes out, they do a bit of pinball, and they do I Want It All. On the whole, it wasn't a bad version, but some of the hit notes Roger didn't help, and it hit, and it went flat. Next, opera singer Zucchero came out and done Las Pablos or Amor, and he does a fine version of it. Up next was Gary Cherone, and Tony Iommi was hanging around, and they do a great version of Amateur Full. Gary Cherone did a great job on there. Gary goes off, on comes James Hetfield from Metallica, Tony's still on, and they do Stone Cold Crazy. Killer version. Up next, Robert Plant comes on and does a bit of innuendo and throws bits of Kashmir and Thank You in there. They do a reasonably good version of Crazy Little Thing called Love. And then we have Brian and Spike Edney. Now, Spike, of course, is the keyboard player he still plays for Queen now and has been a part of the Queen setup. And they do Too Much Love Will Kill You, which is very moving. Up next, Queen with Paul Young and a bit of Radio Gaga, and the crowd, as ever, do the actions to Radio Gaga perfectly. Up next, Seal sings a very emotional version of Who Wants to Live to Live Forever. Very good. Lisa Stanfield comes out dressed as a housewife to sing I Want to Break Free. Then David Bowie and Annie Lennox come out and sing Under Pressure. That's where remember Annie Lennox with her black eyes, the panda look. Don't know why she did that, because it looked rather bizarre. Then sort of David Bowie sort of takes over for a bit. And he brings out Ian Hunter, Mick Ronson, Joe Elliott and Phil Collen. And they do a version of All the Young Dudes. Then David and Queen and Mick Ronson do Heroes, which is not a bad version. Then David Bowie decided to recite the Lord's Prayer. God knows why. And then we come to what I was the real highlight of this show. Queen and George Michael. And the song that apparently George used to busk to, 39. It's a great busking song anyway. He stays on stage and Lisa Stanfield joins him and they do These Days of Our Lives, which is a pretty good version. Then the best song from the whole gig, Queen and George Michael do Somebody to Love. Out come a choir. Brilliant. Best song of the day. Out comes Elton John, who's a big friend of Freddie's, and Axl Rose. They do Bohemian Rhapsody. Not the best version of that, I must admit. And then Elton John and Tony Iommi and Queen do The Show Must Go On, which was brilliant, I must admit. Axl and Queen do We Will Rock You. It wasn't a bad job. And then We Are the Champions with everybody and special guest Liza Minnelli. Yeah. What Liza Minnelli was doing out, I don't know. There was a rumour that Freddie was a big fan of her. Then they do God Save the Queen. Okay, I remember watching this because I was suffering. Not suffering, I was recovering from surgery on my back. So I was a bit laid up. This was a great way to spend a day watching this. But the highlights, of course, are George Michael. I did like the Extreme. I think this is pretty good. I'll put it on now and again. It's really good to listen to. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, I'll be back later, of course. It's live stream and a busy one it'll be. Spinning spinning the wheel. Last week's results in Battle Royale. Showing records. Me for once. Got a new feature tonight. Looking at the year, and we're going to look at our favourite albums and bits from 1966. So that's all happening tonight, but we'll be back tomorrow for live album ranking, and we're going to be looking at the live albums of the Mighty Chicago, horns and all, and we've got a brand new album tomorrow from King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard. Now, have we got a rock album, a psychedelic album, a dance album? We just don't know with this band. Find out tomorrow when we review the new album, The Silver Chord. So have a great day, everybody, and I will see you tonight on the live stream. Bye for now.